Hey, Shelley.
Hey Eric, how are you?
Not too bad. How are you?
Not too bad.
Cool.
Looks like I have somebody over here and I don't see him.
Oh, weird. Oh, yeah. I
Yeah,
see that there's like three participants. Oh, attendees one.
yeah,
Oh, weird.
that is weird.
Huh. Well, I guess we'll
I'll
see
just
what.
hold on.
Yeah. Hey, Cash, how's it going?
Hey, good, Eric. I'm trying to give me just a second. I'm trying to get my audio squared away here.
Okay. You sound good to me.
Thanks. You still hear me, Eric?
Yep.
Okay, I think I'm good. Hey, we don't need to do this as part of the formal meeting, but is it a huge hassle, Eric, going forward if you put the Zoom link into the email, not in the body, in addition to in the body of the agenda? The reason I ask that is I can only get that link to take if I'm on my computer, which is fine. I typically am, but sometimes, I do need to connect via a tablet or mobile, and it would be easier if there was an actual link in the email to click versus a PDF document, because something about Apple devices doesn't like that. Would that be a huge hassle to do that?
No, I think that's doable.
Okay, that'd be great. And Eric, I didn't hear from anyone. I assume you didn't either, that they couldn't make it tonight. So I assume we'll have a forum this time. I see Melinda is here, but I think her and I are the only commissioners.
Yep. Yeah, I didn't hear from anybody either. So I'm guessing we'll have a quorum.
Yeah, they're probably all waiting for their Zoom to update or install new things.
Probably right. We need 4, right, Eric? So waiting on one more.
Yep.
I talked to CJ this morning and she was planning on attending.
Hi guys, sorry I'm a couple minutes late.
No worries, we don't have 4 yet, so. And Eric, do we have, I reviewed the packet item on the Hampden Hills neighborhood boundary deal. Do we have someone, is that person going to be here to address the commission?
So I don't think so.
Okay,
Madeline from communications had planned to come and
Got it.
talk about it a little bit, but she is out of town. So
Got it.
I can take it a little bit. If you guys want to hold off on making any sort of motion until the next meeting, we can table
That-
it. if you'd like,
yeah,
or-
that's kind of what I'm thinking. If you want to talk about it, and like I said, I reviewed it, but I would just, I appreciate the thoroughness of the person who submitted it. I would just like a little bit more time to, I thought someone was coming to the process. I'd like a little more time to just review the actual documents.
Okay, yeah, and we can, yeah, when it comes up on the agenda, we just make a motion to table it till December and we can go from there.
Sounds good.
Ah, there's Lauren. All right, we can get this party started.
Hello.
Hey,
Sorry I'm late.
No, you're good. So yeah, we have 4 commissioners here, so that's quorum. So I will call the meeting to order at 6:35 p.m. And I'll turn to Eric to take the roll.
Okay, Chair Cash Parker,
Present.
Vice Chair Matt Crabtree,
Present.
Ken Chu, does not look like he is currently here. Melinda Ellswick,
Here,
Lauren Cooper,
Here.
and CJ Cullinan does not appear to be here quite yet. So absent. Okay, back to you, Cash.
Thanks, Eric. So approval of minutes, we're back to September 20th, 2023. We did not have a meeting due to lack of quorum, which was occasioned by technical issues in October. So I will entertain a motion to approve the September 20th minutes.
so moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Moved by Melinda, seconded by Matt. All those in favor of approval of the September 20th minutes, say aye.
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 And I have to abstain because I wasn't there.
I'm an aye. I was there. So I believe that motion carries 3 to 1 abstention. Eric?
I believe that is correct.
Next item, public forum. I don't see anyone, any members of the public here. Am I right about that, Eric?
You are correct. I don't see anybody in the guest area.
Okay, great. Take us to new business, as we discussed a bit offline before we jumped into the meeting, the Hampden Hills neighborhood map boundary revision request. There's a packet item in here. There was a submission for a change to the boundaries from a resident. Some materials accompanied that showing the historic, I guess, presence of that property within the Hampden Hills subdivision. Eric, you had said that Madeline from communications was going to speak to this a bit more, but she's out of town, and you said you could speak to it a bit. Is that right?
Yeah, I can answer some very basic questions about it. Basically, I know what the request is.
Yeah, would you just lay that out for us? Like I said, I reviewed the item in the packet briefly, but I haven't studied it in depth. Yes.
Yeah, I mean, so the gist of it is this individual thinks that the boundary of Hampden Hills should be moved over 1 block, believed to include Race Street. And she was basing her thoughts on that on an old flyer for Hampden Hill subdivision. It just that should have been in your packets as well, but that showed the boundaries with race in Hampden Hills. So that's to the extent of it. I know Madeline has had much more conversation with Emily Gonzalez, the person who submitted the change request form, than I have. I know it was kind of a last minute thing that she was out of town, that Madeline's out of town. So again, we can discuss a little more. We can table it until December.
Yeah,
Whatever-
I
whatever you
would
think.
I would entertain discussion and comments on it. It seemed like and then ultimately, I think what we should do is table it until December so that everyone can review the item in the packet and the documents in the packet. It seemed reasonable to me, and it seemed like the request was backed up by the documentation, the Hampden Hills flyer from what I looked at, but I would like a bit more time to look it over. I don't know if there are other questions for Eric or thoughts on that point. Lauren, I saw you went off mute. You as well.
Yeah. I have to say also that flyer that she showed is incredible. I'd love to find out where she got that.
Yeah.
And then my question is, I was just looking at this before the meeting, so I haven't gotten a chance to dig in, but is it possible for us to pull up the neighborhood map right now? Because I'd like to know what's the neighborhood that's just to the west of that we'd be taking away from to include Race Street. I don't have any objections, to be honest. Like, it sounds like, it makes perfect sense what she's saying and what she showed. I'm just curious as to what it looks like.
I think it's Romans Park.
Yeah, that is correct. It's Ron's Park. I can share my screen real quick.
Cool. Yeah.
Stand by.
And Lauren, if you were fish out, Matt, I saw your hand was up, so I'll turn it over to you.
Yeah, come on, Zoom. There we go. And everybody can see a web browser.
Yep.
Okay. So in question would be Romans Park. Yeah, so this is really interesting. Actually, I looked at this when we first brought it up, and to kind of second what Lauren had mentioned, that flyer that was in the packet is amazing. It shows the original architectural details and things like that. I mean, that's great information to have. So I guess they're proposing to bring it over to Race Street. I was trying to think back on how we originally decided this boundary. I believe this had something to do with the county identifying these homes as Hampden Hills. Now, if
Hey Matt, can you put that back up really quick? And
sure. Yeah, let me move. I've got a Google Maps here that I'm going to move.
Yeah.
To stand by.
Sorry for everyone having to see my face even closer than usual. I'm just on my laptop, so apologies for that.
I want to back up. Here we go. I just I wanted to.
And can you move the pointer to the area we're talking about, Race Street?
So Race Street, can you see my pointer?
Yep.
Race Street's right here.
So the proposal is to move that whole line over the block.
That's correct, yes. Now, what's interesting about this is I think it kind of makes sense. Let's get rid of this here. Matt. Didn't want to do that. Is there for a reason? There we go. Okay, so layers, drop the little dude right over here. Let's see where we at. All right, where to go? All right, Race Street right there. Okay. So if you look at this, so that's Hampden Hills. That is not Hampden Hills. And actually, it's even different homes. So, it's one of these things, we poured over this time and time again, and discussed it all. And I figured there were going to be situations like this come up, and it's nice that people are engaged and active to discuss. These are kind of brick homes.
Mm-hmm.
And these are wood frame homes. So it's kind of neat that there are people out there that are paying attention to all this and active and concerned and engaged enough to raise a suggestion. I guess most of these homes along that side of the street are part of that subdivision. I don't see any problem with it myself personally. It'd be nice to have a larger group present at our meeting to consider, and make sure that I'm not missing anything, but
Yeah, that was another point I was gonna make. In addition to wanting to just study the documents in the packet just a little bit more, I think also it would be nice if we had, a bigger group of commissioners, hopefully next month to consider it. That's why those are great points, Matt and Lauren. I'm happy to entertain as much discussion as there is on this issue, but I think ultimately we should probably table it for next month.
yeah.
My only concern with tabling it is, next month is December, so are we gonna have people out for next month's meeting due to the holidays? Just wanting to make it a timely change for this individual who was, engaged and interested in this. Don't want to kind of leave them high and dry by taking 2 or 3 months to make the change.
Yes.
That's just my concern.
Yeah, that's a
I
fair.
agree.
So ultimately, though, to speak to Lauren's point, this will need to be brought to council since they approved the original neighborhood map. And so, oh, never mind. I was thinking that the new council members didn't get seated till like January, but it's December. So, okay, never mind.
Yeah, so
Then what are we being asked to approve?
Recommendation to council, right, Eric?
Yep, recommendation to change the boundaries of Hampden Hills.
It all seems reasonable to me. Eric, I don't know if you have any insight on, how, for lack of a better term, hot to trot this individual was about getting this changed in the short term.
I think the decision or for her idea or what prompted her to submit an application for the boundary change or boundary change request was that they're getting street signs to post Hampden Hills neighborhood. And so she wants the boundaries correct when they put up those neighborhood signs. So that's kind of what I understand is kind of the idea behind it all.
Yeah, so Lauren, I don't know what the timeline is on getting those signs. I leave it to you all, I suppose. If someone wants to move to table it, I understand that. Hearing what everyone said and having reviewed it before the meeting and based on what Matt said, I would vote to support the recommendation to change it if we want to just do it now, but I leave it to you all to decide if we want to do that now or wait till next month.
well,
And Madeline did sound like it was okay if we tabled it and talked about it in December as well. So.
well, I mean, I'd like to have Madeline, part of the conversation. She was so actively involved in the project, so certainly don't want to exclude her. And to Lauren's point, it'd be nice to react, as quickly as we can to the member of the community. And like I said, it's fantastic that she raised this concern to us. It means that there are folks out there paying attention to this and know about it and are excited about it. So I don't know. I want to include as many people, but I also, out of fear that next month we might have a quorum issue again due to attendance, I'm a bit concerned waiting another month.
I do think it speaks to the success of the project that we have folks engaged on this. That's exciting.
Yeah.
And she obviously did her homework on this, provided all that information, which is things we hadn't seen. It's really useful.
Yeah, we missed it. We missed this. And I'm even looking at the map here going, well, that doesn't really make sense to have that line there because you got Vine Street here and then it kind of curves off this way. So it does make more logical sense to have it go up Race Street. So I guess in an effort to get things done, I'll raise a motion to change to follow the recommendations provided to us to change the boundary to Race Street.
So there's a motion on the table to pass a recommendation to council to change the boundary on the Hampden Hills subdivision to Race Street per the recommendation in the packet. Is there a second for that?
I'll second that.
Been moved and seconded. Eric, do you want to take a roll call vote on that since it's a recommendation to council?
Yep, absolutely. And so, well, Chair Parker,
Aye, yes.
Vice Chair Crabtree,
Yes, aye.
Melinda Ellswick,
Aye.
Lauren Cooper.
Aye.
Okay, and noted that Ken Chu and CJ Cullinan are absent, so motion carries.
Okay. Do we need to put anything in writing or is that vote sufficient to take the recommendation to council, Eric?
I think it would be beneficial for council to have something, since HPC is the recommending body. Like just something from the HPC saying that, yes, we've reviewed the neighborhood change request and agree with everything that was submitted for the requested change and therefore recommend approval of the boundary change. You know, something simple to that effect, but it kind of puts that HPC stamp of approval on it.
I don't mind putting that together, and it'll say what you said, Eric, and basically say, you know, it'll reference the packet materials, you know, per the request and the materials in the packet. You know, HPC agrees with that. Because we've had this vote, can I just send that directly to you and that can be elevated to council? Is that kosher?
Yeah, absolutely.
I'll do that. I'll try to do that by the end of this week. Okay, great.
Can I ask a quick question while we're still on the topic of the neighborhood map?
Mhm.
Eric, do you know the status of all the the history of each neighborhood that I put together? Is there any work that's been done to get that into the map? That's not very articulate, but
I don't know. I would need to talk to Madeline about that.
okay.
And
Okay,
I know
'cause-
we haven't talked about that recently, so I'm not sure what the status of that is.
Okay, because having this Hampden Hills flyer that the individual sent, that would be great to include as part of that neighborhood's history, because I don't believe I found a lot of information on that neighborhood off the top of my head. So yeah, there's a lot of good information in that would be fun to include.
Okay, yeah, I will talk to her when she's back.
All right, great, thank you.
Yeah.
And a quick clarification on this too. We'll follow Race Street straight down here. Let's see here. I'm going to share my screen just real fast. I know we already voted on this, but I just want to clarify here for the purpose of. So if we look at this, it actually does follow Race Street. This line straight down
Down the middle of the street.
down the middle of that street, and if we want to follow that exactly, that's
To your point about the houses on the other side of the street being different.
yeah. So follow it down this here. I assume that's what the.
Yeah, and Eric, tell me if we need to do another vote to clarify that, but that was my understanding of the resolution we just passed in terms of the recommendation to council is that we would go down the middle of Race Street for the boundary.
Following the original boundaries from the Hampden Hills advertising flyer there.
Sorry there, I was letting CJ in. So just let the record show that CJ has arrived at 6:50.
Great. Welcome, CJ. Eric, just to backtrack. So my understanding of the resolution we just passed in terms of the recommendation to council for Race Street was to follow the boundaries that are set out in the flyer that's on the screen now that Matt, I think, is screen sharing. In other words, that boundary, our recommendation for the revision of the boundary for the neighborhood map will be down the middle of Race Street, because as Matt showed, the houses on the other side of Race are different architecturally and in a different subdivision, and that'll be the recommendation. Do we need another vote to clarify that, or are we good on that?
Let's do another, let's just to cover our bases, let's just do another one of those.
Okay, that's
Just
fair.
clarify
So
where the boundary would need to be.
yeah, that's fair. So if someone wants to make a motion to that effect,
CJ, so move.
is there a second for the motion to recommend that the boundary on the Hampden Hills subdivision be down the middle of Race Street?
Yeah, I'll second that one.
Eric, do you want to take the roll on that?
But real quick discussion. So that one part between Floyd and the next place where Race is on one side, on those 5 houses.
Yeah, that's the clarification that we're doing right now. I'll show you the map real quick, CJ.
I see it. No, I see it. That's why. Oh, okay, go ahead.
Yeah, here we go. We've got this. So basically we'd follow Race Street down. This is the
Right.
clarification that I wanted, and just to make sure. We already voted on this once, but it's one of those speak now or forever hold your peace, right? Right, Cash?
Something along
But that
those lines.
problem, the problem though, is when Race comes down, it's now in the alley behind Race.
Well, it's,
Past Floyd.
yeah, so let's go jump back here to satellite view real fast. We've got a apartment complex here.
Oh, I see it jogs over.
You've
Yeah.
got that jigger there. So how do we include those from Floyd down to Kent Village?
So neighborhood
It's
map.
still Race
shows-
Street.
Yeah, it's all.
No, but they're on the west side of Race Street. Do you see the ones I'm talking about?
Essex Lane. Is
Yeah, I
the
do.
edge. Essex Lane here is the edge of this right here is the
Kent,
edge of
that's Kent
the
Village. Yeah.
And technically, this is, I guess, technically speaking, this is actually Kent.
Is it really? When I drive by there, it doesn't seem like it's Kent Village.
So this one structure would technically be in. I mean,
Oh, it is, huh? No, but that's right there. Go up on your right side. Yeah. So that house right there, that's definitely not Kent Village, even though it looks like it could be.
it is not. Yeah, the borderline for Kent Village is right.
Yeah, it's just the way it shows the building. Yeah, I'm with you. I'm with you.
And I mean, arguably, if we're looking at this here,
Why does it keep going dark? That's weird. But it's okay.
does it keep what's going dark?
Nothing. When when you first see it, it's nice and light and then it goes dark. But it's okay. Don't worry about it.
I guess it's a little more complicated. I wanted to keep this moving along here, Cash. So
No, but I agree with you, but except those 5 houses.
Oh, except
Right.
I say include the 5.
I mean, include those 5 houses. So
Right.
how do we word it?
I
We
can,
made
I can
Race.
make a suggestion on that.
Uh-huh.
When Cash writes the memo that goes to council saying this is our attach that page from the flyer that
Mhm.
shows the map and
Yeah.
say
Yeah,
boundaries, that's what we want.
yeah, the flyer, Matt, can you, just because you're the, I guess, designated screen share.
All right, with that.
Could you throw that flyer back up? Because that covers, right? That covers what we're talking about in the flyer.
Okay,
I mean, correct me if I'm wrong.
no,
No, that
that's-
is correct.
that is totally what I want to agree with. But when you guys said race, that's where I got confused.
So I
at this
think
point,
that's,
East Floyd Place and Race Street. So let me go back to the map real quick. We're gonna jump back here to the map. And then, so that goes down to Essex Lane, and this is
Mhm.
Essex Lane here.
Oh, is it? That's cute. Okay.
And if we go down, that's Dorset there. Yes, that makes sense. So it's Essex and this is Dorset. So these homes here are clearly part of
Hampden Hills.
Hampton Hills. That's very Hampton Hills architecture.
Right. No
Um,
problem.
you jump down one more, and well, you can't even go in here. It looks like Street View didn't go in there, but obviously at so I mean that's Kent,
Parking lot. Yeah, exactly. Mhm.
and then that's so we really need to follow this line. My concern is this. Oops, where am I at? This building right here is the one that we want to make sure stays in Kent Village.
Correct.
And if we follow the Hampden Hills flyer, it will, right?
That's correct, because if we count the houses, we have 1, 2, 3,
4,
4,
5. Mhm.
5. I wonder if something happened with that development at the Essex Lane. No, that's right. That is right, because there's a house. That's Essex Lane.
Mhm.
Yeah, so that makes sense. We follow the flyer. I'm making it more complicated than necessary.
Okay.
All right, so now we definitely need clarification vote.
Yeah, so I think the resolution we're looking for, as far as the recommendation to council, is to follow the Hampden Hills flyer that's in the packet materials as far as the Race Street boundary. Is that right?
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Okay, that's exactly what I moved.
Yes, so that's just to make it clear, that's CJ's motion is to revise the Hampden Hills boundary per the flyer that's in this month's packet materials to follow Race Street essentially down the middle of Race Street. And is there a second for that motion?
Do we need, hold on just a second, do we need to do anything with the motion, the previous two motions? Do we need to do any house cleaning on those, or are they just
Didn't
like,
seem like it.
Well,
I think we're clarifying this motion because there was never a vote on the last motions. There was a
Right.
vote. There was a vote to revise the boundaries. This is a clarifying motion as to what exactly we're recommending to council. Tell me if you
We
think-
haven't voted on that yet.
exactly.
gotcha, okay, so so CJ first, and Matt second on that still, right?
that's
Correct.
correct. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
So if Eric, you want to take the roll call vote on this clarifying motion as far as the boundaries, tracking the Hampden Hills flyer that's in this month's packet down the middle of Race Street. It's been moved and seconded.
Okay, Cash,
Aye, yes.
Matt,
Aye.
Melinda,
Aye.
Lauren,
Aye.
CJ,
Aye.
and Ken is absent. Motion passes.
Why am I black? It says my video's going, but oh well,
Do you have something in front of your camera by chance?
my face.
All right.
See, I mean, I
Pick up
even
that
went up
piece of-
there and tried to rub it
Oh,
off.
there it is.
There you are.
Wait, it's
Oh!
working now.
That is so wicked. Okay.
There must be something on there.
There must have been, it must have been dirty and I didn't know it. Okay, sorry. Hi.
Aye. Eric, thanks for bearing with us on that. I'll get you something end of the week and you can ship that off as needed to council. That sound good?
Yeah, no worries. Yeah, hopefully that it can get on one of their agendas pretty quick here.
Sounds good. Next item of new business then is the Hannah Miles resignation. Eric, I think you confirmed that we have that completed. Is that right?
Yes, I did confirm with the city clerk's office that the email that she had sent me saying that she's no longer able to serve on the board is sufficient as her resignation. So that's been made official. And so there is an opening on HPC.
Okay.
How sad.
Do we need to do anything, or that's up to council to take applications in the?
Yeah, that's all through city clerk and council.
Sounds good.
If I
Meanwhile,
can
for what
just
it's
go ahead.
worth, I went ahead and did the Hannah Miles pieces on the Pinyon survey. Assuming she wasn't going to be doing them.
Oh, thank you.
And
Real quick, when it comes to the opening that we have, I still want to reinforce that we do have a youth opening too. And if there's any way that could be advertised, that the city registrar or whatever, when they advertise things, if they could make sure that gets over to the school district, or do we have to do that publicity?
I am not sure how that works. I
Because
can
there's
reach out.
another board that also has a youth on it, doesn't, I think, but
I can ask Jackie
thank you, darling.
Yeah.
You're marvelous.
and see what she says on that.
Great. Thanks, Eric, for looking into that. Next item on new business is the landmark application and process guide. I know that we've got Sergio with us, I think, to talk about this, right, Eric? And what I know is, my understanding is that Code Next went into force on October 26th.
25th, October 25th.
Yep. So
Right, what'd you guys say? When did it go?
October 25th or 6th.
Thank you.
Yeah, it was like that last Friday in October.
So, leaving aside other Code Next issues, the good news is that our process went into force as part of that. So that's good news for the HPC. And you know, like I said, Eric, I don't know if you wanted to speak to this, or Sergio. I'll turn it over to either one of you.
I'll basically hop in and turn it over to Sergio. But basically, I just took what we had drafted a couple years ago, and then just gave it to the city attorney's office to look at the new regs to make sure everything matched the new regs. And then Sergio's red line is what you see. So basically, once we get the thumbs up from HPC, we can go ahead and get this on the HPC website, and then we can start accepting applications. So I'll let Sergio take it from there.
Yeah. So all we did was essentially took the previous documents, compared them to the changes in the Code Next, and just updated them per the new regulations. And as Eric and everyone is aware, Code Next did go into effect, so the board can make its decisions on what it wants to do with these forms, update them further, or adopt them as is. But essentially, we just tracked with what the ordinance was saying.
Yeah, and I'm clicking through the forms. I don't know if others have had a chance to review these, and if there are questions for Eric and Sergio or comments. You know, to me, it all looked good. It looked like it just tracked, as Sergio said, the changes, or tracked what ended up being enacted as part of Code Next as the final ordinance. They were fine to me, but you know, I'm happy to hear questions or comments on the various forms.
So I just have a question, and maybe I'm looking at this wrong, but the only changes I really see are to the process, not the application itself. Is that correct?
Like, Sergio, go ahead.
So the application itself it can be developed by the board. However, if the board wants to update the application or change the application, they can do that. But yes, essentially just the process, because Code Next changed some procedures and how the Historic Preservation Commission can act on certain things. So essentially, the process just tracks with how the ordinance is written. But yeah, the form, the standard form, it can be whatever the board decides.
Okay. And I guess a follow-up on that, like, if we have issue with the process, there's really nothing that can be done because it's the way it's already been adopted in Code Next. Is that correct?
Yes, Code Next has already been adopted, and it's how this will be done per the ordinance. The only way
Okay.
to this procedure would be to change the ordinance.
Okay, okay. Well, then I have no issue. I think it's great. And I'd say let's move forward and make it official.
Time coming. Matt, I see your hand is raised.
Sure. Just real fast here. So I noticed that there's a red line here towards the end of the document. City of Inglewood Historic Preservation Commission has, excuse me, Inglewood Historic Landmark Application Process. And there's a few changes in here. Sergio, is that reflective of the language that made it into Code Next for the historic preservation portion, or what was these changes with the red line in that?
What are you looking at, Matt? Which
Page-
one? 3?
Yeah, it's page 20 of our packet, which would be the red line of 2 pages here. It says City of Inglewood Historic Preservation Commission, Inglewood Historic Landmark Application Process. It's towards the bottom of our packet. You may not have our packet though, right?
I'm looking at the City of Inglewood Historic Preservation Inglewood Historic Landmark Application Process, just that single document.
Let's share my screen right quick so you can see what I'm saying. There we go.
You're amazing.
Okay, just highlight what we're looking at, Matt.
Yeah, I just wanted a little more clarification as to what was changed and because I'm seeing.
Oh, yeah, that, the typical review time is 3 months. I took that out. I made an executive call on that one, in that we don't want to set a limit for us or a specific time frame that we may or may not be able to keep to.
Okay. So there are some changes in here. This is not reflective of the language that's in Code Next that was passed. This is more just the changes to our process, which is separate to that.
Yeah, no, that first red line that you indicated, I mean, once we get a couple of these through, we can revisit this to see what the typical time frame is.
Okay.
But without doing the process right now, could we really keep to a 3-month time frame? And I really didn't want to put that in writing.
Yeah, that's probably good. Has everybody had a chance to read through the changes in that?
I haven't. I'm sorry.
Yes,
Yes. Sorry, go ahead.
Chair
since Lauren is the one who drafted all the original stuff, if she's okay with it, I'm okay. I will defer to Lauren on this.
Well, I mean, like I said, my thoughts are it doesn't look like anything with the application itself has changed, just the process. And if that's reflecting what's already been established in Code Next, then I think it's fine. That's what we've got to do, right?
Ordinance that was passed.
Yeah.
So yeah, it looks good to me. I had the same thought as you, Lauren. It looks like it's reflective of what was passed with the ordinance as far as the process. It still gives us the flexibility, I suppose, to promulgate the form, which we've spent, countless hours developing, and that seems unchanged from our previous iterations of it. So yeah, it looks good. It looks good to me. I mean, I think we should move forward with getting this approved and up so it's available on the website, and we can start processing these, hopefully get some applicants in there. And I suppose, I'm not cutting off the discussion. I'm open to further questions or discussion, but I would imagine, Eric, we need a motion to approve all of this to get this onto the website and up and running. Is that right?
Yep.
Is there a way, because did we ever truly do a dry run with it? We did stuff with that Joshua School up on the Dartmouth House.
And
to
the
do-
Scarrett House also.
So did the Scarrett House, but are both of those kind of quote unquote already grandfathered in or do they have to do their own thing?
No, they're grandfathered in because anything that is on the state or national register is, I'm not sure about the Scarrett House though, but is automatically assumed to be.
Well, no, because now the local HPC is more quote unquote. Am I right, Lauren?
Yeah, CJ, you're right. Just at this point, just because something's listed in the National Register doesn't mean that it will automatically be a local landmark. They've still got to go through the application process.
But what do you think, Lauren? Since we pulled stuff together from both of those places.
Those wouldn't be either, especially the Scarrett House specifically. I don't believe I ever contacted the owners. That was just sort of kind of pulling through what the application would look like. I know you contacted the owners of the Joshua Tree.
I
but we
also
decided-
contacted the Scarrett House owners.
Oh, you did? Okay.
Yeah, well, the chiropractor, the doctor himself. But
Okay.
he was led to believe that it was a Denver landmark because of the Denver work that was done. And we didn't have our stuff up, of course, but I kind of, I mean, can we somehow move those two ahead of everybody else? So those are listed as our first two.
They have to, someone has to apply. No, we can't.
Yeah.
Someone
Yeah.
has to
They have to
But-
apply.
But so we haven't really done a pilot yet then, right? What we
Basically,
were
what
doing,
happened was we took the Scarrett House and did a dry run to see if how the application worked and how staff could process that application. So it was really just a dry run, but the properties still need to apply, pay the application fee, and get staff review. Staff recommends, HPC. HPC recommends to council. Council makes final decision.
so my thing is, no matter what, the Scarrett House should be number one and should already be approved. So what do we need to do? I don't mind contacting him, but I'm sure he's going to say, really, you're going to charge me more money? Do I really have to? I know he knows that he can't change anything because he's still operating under the Denver landmark. Does that make sense? Which is a little more strict than ours. Because we have some monies. And I just think it would be very appropriate for us to make the Scarrett House, even though it's private owned, to make the Scarrett House number one and somehow help them do everything. I mean, if the application's already done, could I just print it off and walk it over there and say, here, sign this? And then HPC, the city of Inglewood, would pay for that fee just because it's the Scarrett House.
It could come out of our budget. in other
That's
words.
what I'm suggesting.
Let me jump in here real fast. So
Thank you.
what is the fee that's been, because I know that I think there were some questions on the fee. Does anybody have a record of that?
I don't remember what passed.
They were talking 500.
I thought it was 250, but okay.
I don't think it's quite, I think the price dropped. I cannot for the life of me remember what it is off the top of my head, but I thought it was $3 or $350.
I mean, I guess we'd have to look at the money that we have available to us. Well, what is the available funding that we have as a commission?
I think it's either 15 or 2,000 annually.
Yeah, okay.
So, I mean,
I'll spend it.
Thank you, CJ. We'll figure out something to spend that $2,000 on.
Well, I mean, I remember we had talked about, like if there wasn't people rushing to do it, or if we said, I remember us talking about this, even though it was years ago, was that idea maybe to the first 5 people that they only have to pay half or something to kind of get us into, because obviously the first ones are going to be more sluggish, less effective, less efficient than as time goes on. So we would need more patience from those first people.
CJ, I see your point there. And I mean, my initial inclination would be to say all of the properties in our city that are historically, nationally, on the National Historic Register, i.e. at the bank, we've got the post office, we have, I don't believe the depot is on the National Register, but it is, it
I know it's
It's on
Colorado.
the state.
Yeah.
it's on the state, well, it's state funds are used, so that ties that, so that's kind of a different, that's an oddball out, but and then I think the Spirit House, I don't believe the Spirit House is on the National Register.
Oh, I didn't know that. Okay.
Lauren, you know?
I just thought. it
I
went
don't
through
know
Pinyon.
off the top of my head.
Well, so my initial inclination would be to say, hey, you know, we don't have very many properties in the city that are nationally recognized historic. If we could absorb those into the program and use our funding for that, that's kind of a neat thing.
Or
And-
even state? Or no?
Well, I mean, sure, we can leave that up for discussion, but my concern would be for Eric and Sergio is we have to be careful as an entity of the city providing something for free and not for others. So I don't know how exactly that would work, if this would be, yeah, it's one of those situations where it has.
Because we don't have anything that says grandfathering people in. the
Well,
ordinance.
No, so yeah, it doesn't matter if they're on the National Register or the state register, they gotta apply and go through this process. And whether we waive the fee is a different question, but no, we don't get to just anoint properties as.
No, I'm fine with that. I'm fine that for, especially for archival.
Right, I mean, it's the law, so that's how
no,
it
no,
works. Yeah, I'm glad
Dang
you're
lawyer.
fine.
Yeah, you're right. No, but I'm not undermining that
So,
part.
so like this discussion of properties that should apply is wonderful. I think it's great. This agenda item is to approve what we've been working on for years, and we
Okay.
finally got past the code next, which is to get this process in place and get these forms on the website so people can apply and do it. I don't mean to cut off the discussion, but we're completely far afield. from
See,
what
I
the-
disagree because if we get
Completely
everything,
far afield.
but if we get everything up and running, then we've got, Mamie down on, Dartmouth Avenue, she gets put in before the Scarrett House. That to me, I believe some of these ones should have a run before it goes website. I don't know.
We have no authority to do that under the ordinance that was passed. None. So I don't disagree with you, but this is a moot discussion. We don't have authority to do that.
Yeah.
Unless
And-
we just encourage them to do it.
Yeah, I
one
mean,
by
you can
one.
fill out the application for anybody you want and say, hey, with your consent, you sign it and submit it. Anybody can do that, but we don't have any ability to do that. We can't carve out a separate process for certain properties. And we've worked on this for years. And finally, because Code Next passed, we have the ability to vote on this and get this process running and on the website. So
Thank you.
I think we should do that.
So I move that we accept the processes as stated and has applications have been created. The blah, was that good enough?
Yeah, so I think there's a motion to approve the application process as revised, which I think is only in the process document, but process, the application form, the nomination instructions. Is there a second for that motion?
That's exactly what I said, guys.
I'll second that.
Yay!
On that.
Okay,
Because I'm so dang articulate. That's why you seconded it.
Cash,
Yes, aye.
Matt,
Can I throw out a question real fast here while we're in the voting process, or Cash?
Discussion
You
after.
don't live very
voting.
far from me. You can throw something at me if that's I just want to clarify that we have the opportunity to change this. And if we go forward with and we find a problem.
I think everything's fluid, isn't it?
So
I mean,
my read of that, and I'll let Sergio weigh in, Matt, it's a good question, is that the way that Code Next was passed, we as a commission have the authority to promulgate the form, meaning we have the authority to change it in the future. So my take on it is yes, but I'm not the city's attorney, so I'm not saying that as a matter of legal advice. So Sergio, what do you think?
I would agree with that, Cash. As long as it's within the framework of the ordinance, it can be modified in the future, as long as we're within the framework of the law.
Yeah, because Matt, I think we, among other things that we wanted, I think that's one of the things we got that we wanted in this part of Code Next, which is we as the commission have the ability to govern
that.
those
Yeah.
forms, essentially.
Cool, thank you.
Okay, so do we want to start the roll call over again, or
I'm a yes. I think it's to you.
Yep.
I'm a yes. Aye.
Melinda,
Yes,
Lauren,
I,
CJ,
Yes, CC.
and Ken is absent. Motion carries.
Well, that's been a long time in coming, so
Yeah.
because everyone here has been here since the beginning of that process and developing those forms and all that. So
And
I say congratulations to the commission on.
absolutely.
yes. Yeah.
And
And I actually have a question to that point. Like, is there a way we can promote this in the city, the Inglewood magazine? Like how now that this is official, how can we promote it? How can we let people know about this?
Sure. So I'm actually going to be working with communications on one. We're drafting a letter to send out to those properties that were identified by the Pinyon survey as potentially having historic value and maybe ripe for designation. And so that will be an informative letter that we send out. That still needs, again, I'm working with communications on that now. That still needs to go through the official channels and city attorney's office to get thumbs up there.
Do we get to see it?
Yes, that is hope. The goal is to have that in front of you by December, by the
Oh,
December.
cool. Thank you.
Get your guys' approval on that. And then, yeah, and my discussions with communications, we can also see if there's something we can put in the Inglewood magazine and just kind of kick it out there a little bit.
And use our logo,
Yeah,
our web site is kind of obscure. It's kind of hard to find.
Yeah, and we're working on actually simplifying that as well. Because the link that was originally in the draft letter that I've been working on is long, very long. And so we're going to try to work on simplifying that, one, and two, getting like a QR code that people could just scan.
You know what would be neat, if there is any way to get contact information, could we each be assigned those different homes so that there's a call from HPC from a, commissioner saying, we understand you got a letter and want to make sure that you understand what that means. And do you have any questions? And basically do the one-on-one sale.
And I have to ask, I would kick that to the attorney's office.
Oh, my Lord. Okay. Cool. Go
I
ahead
do
and
think-
find out.
I do think that, I mean, that's a great question, Lauren. I think it was a nice segue into our old business because the Pinyon survey was our first item of old business. And Eric, I think you lined out what the plan is with that. And it sounds like next month we'll hear further about that. So we'll keep that on the agenda. Does that sound like a reasonable plan?
Yeah, you can just put it on the agenda item as neighborhood letter or something to that effect.
Right. Anything else about the Pinyon project? The reason I put that on old business was the communications outreach piece of it. I think we've, especially thank you, Melinda, for finishing the Hannah Miles piece of it. I know you did a ton on that project. So thanks for all your work on that. I think our work is completed as far as review of the survey. Melinda, I'm going to turn to you because you would know better than I, but is that right?
Well, and I don't know what to do with the completed stuff. Send it to Eric. What?
Send it to me and I think we lost Lauren. Yeah, send it to me and I will work with Madeline in communications and we will get that information processed and onto that interactive map website. Those are the things, we believe that's the next and final steps of that.
And yeah, thank you again, Melinda, for compiling everything and all your work on that. The other old business piece, the commissioner terms correction. This is a carryover from our meeting that didn't happen last month because of technical difficulties. And Eric, I'll turn to you. My understanding from our offline discussion in the last couple months was this got squared away. Melinda, again, helpfully pointed out the proper terms for various folks who were on the commission. And I think we got it square, but Eric, tell me if I'm wrong.
I think we're squared, aren't we, Melinda?
Well, we're kind of at an impasse. It seems like if anybody leaves, they're replaced by a 2-year appointment.
Okay.
Doesn't matter. So
Yeah, and I just defer to Jackie on that, so.
And I guess, Eric, I know it's not your bailiwick, but hopefully we'll have a new commissioner soon with the resignation of Hannah Miles. I guess just if we can keep an eye on making sure that the new appointee has the correct term. The paperwork.
Oh, sure, yeah, definitely.
yeah.
And I think new appointments are made by council in February?
January, I believe.
January.
Yeah, sometime around the first of the year.
Yeah, it should be hopefully a pretty quick turnaround.
Yeah, so if anyone has friends who are interested in the mission of our commission, please encourage them to apply to be on the HPC.
Mission of our commission.
Yeah, that's the end of our agenda. Staff's choice. Eric.
I did have one thing. We did get some guidance from council on in-person meetings. And basically, we're supposed to go back to in-person meetings as much as possible. We're allowed to do hybrid. But just going forward, we'll just plan to meet in person at our usual time and location at the Civic Center building. And then if there does happen to be like a situation where we do, especially if we have something where we don't have any action items or no motions that might come out of it, then it will probably be okay to do virtually. But for the most part, yeah, we are back in person.
Gotcha. And yeah, I just, because I know this is the situation for Matt and I for sure, and others too. I know there are situations with travel and such that the hybrid option is really key for us to be able to attend. So it sounds like we'll be able to preserve the hybrid option where people can be there virtually. I'll be there. That all makes sense. I'll be there in person as much as I can, but we will, it sounds like, have an option to Zoom or Teams in. Is that right?
So we're not given that freedom to go ahead and say we'll meet quarterly and we'll do Zooms in between? We're not given that freedom?
That's, I can ask for clarification, but I mean, that's kind of what I understood.
Use that word freedom. Use that word self-determination. I mean,
yeah.
we're doing the work. It's not like we're just sitting around doing nothing. That we're physically able to see each other or not, I don't
Right.
think is as important as some, I know the council, God bless them, they have to do that. They have to be there. But
Yeah, and I could see more for like, planning and zoning and board of adjustment and whatnot that have more of kind of
well, and obviously when
public
we get
hearing
into, yeah.
type
Sorry.
format. So,
Well,
but yeah,
there's
I mean,
some
I can
applicants
definitely
who-
ask for clarification and see if we can't do, I mean, just like if they acknowledge like, yeah, HPC, if they don't have, if you aren't going to have like a public hearing regarding the review of like a landmark application or something like that, maybe then we could do
That
virtual.
changes everything, correct?
Yeah.
I'm with you.
I'm-
Because that
I'm
to
with-
me does
I'm-
respectfully need to be in person.
Yeah, I'm with you on that, CJ. I would prefer to keep doing what we've been doing. Not that I don't enjoy seeing you all, but it's
Hey, you're seeing us now.
yeah, it's easier virtually. But if that's what council said, Eric, and like I said, I'll try to be there in person as much as possible. But I hope we can preserve at least a hybrid option for folks that aren't able to get it.
And I'll ask for clarification on that, and I'll ask like maybe specifically about HPC.
Yeah.
And
Because
I'll
if
let you
other-
know in December, but for the most part, plan on meeting in person in December.
Hmm.
That was Lauren, we were.
Or
sorry,
hybrid,
lost
or
you.
hybrid.
Yeah, we were on staff's choice, and Eric was just telling us that the council has said that it needs to basically go back to in-person meetings to the extent possible. So we'll try to do that, but try to preserve the hybrid option.
Say, council doesn't really care about accommodating disabilities, so,
Yeah, see, that's it too.
yeah.
However, I could.
Yeah, if
pick
I
you
have to
up.
drag my oxygen tank in there, you know,
I can pick you up if you want. I'll find you a more portable oxygen tank somewhere.
that would be helpful.
But either way, right
Yeah.
now, I mean, if we could wait till January.
My
Yeah.
preference would be to continue what we're doing and do
Yeah.
in-person quarterly, but you know, I don't. I don't get.
We've got kind of a consensus going on here, Eric. We
Yeah.
got
Yeah,
a
no,
new
hey, I
mama
agree with you
sign.
too.
We've got
Because
an
I'd have to come
oxygen
home, feed the
dependent.
cats, and then come back in for the meeting. So that's another trip for me.
Mhm.
Say, what
We're
if they gave
thinking
a
of
live
you.
meeting and nobody came?
Oh my gosh.
We were all over here on Zoom.
Well, thanks for the heads up on that, Eric. We'll plan on seeing each other before Christmas.
Heads up.
Yeah, and I hope to get clarification on that before our next meeting.
There's
So,
another word besides clarification is request, begging, something else besides the term clarification.
Eric, did you have anything else for staff's choice besides that in-person meetings deal?
I did not have anything. Sergio, did you have anything for staff?
I do not.
Cool. Yeah.
Hello.
Thanks also, Sergio, for coming. Appreciate it. I'll just go around the Zoom in the order that I see folks. CJ, did you have anything for Commissioner's Choice?
Yeah, just want to tell you, next year is Arapahoe Acres 75th anniversary. And so we've got a committee together to come up with some ideas on what we're going to do. And of course, billions more ideas than we can do. Working with the Historic Inglewood to get their branding on everything that we do. And so it'll be a great partnership. I just want you guys to know that. So when you start hearing things, Arapahoe Acres / Historic Inglewood. And then I just want to say personally, thank you. This to me, Thanksgiving is the best holiday ever because it pushes gratitude forward. And Eric, you sticking with us even when I get ornery. I mean, I'm pretty impressed with your political skills. And everybody else, thank you
well, thanks.
for making this move forward.
Yeah, great. Yeah, thank you. It's very nice. Matt, Commissioner's Choice.
Yeah, so Historic Inglewood, we just received notification this morning that our SCFD status was approved. Historic Inglewood now is a member of SCFD and eligible for grant funding. So
That's great.
that's actually a big deal.
You
So,
should feel really good about that.
yeah, that was a lot of work to get there actually. So
That's great. Melinda, Commissioner's Choice.
Oh, yes, I have something. I would like to talk about sewage. Sewage is what brings us together, yes. So this may take a while if you want to skip ahead of Lauren, if you have something that.
well,
Lauren, do you have anything before we talk about sewage?
Just a real quick plug for the Colorado Preservation Conference is coming up end of January, early February, I believe. I don't have the exact dates, but early bird registration is until December 1st. So, I forget where it is this year, but somewhere close by.
I
Can you-
throw out the idea that you can volunteer for free if you want to.
Can you forward that info to me, Lauren? For some reason, that did not come across my inbox, and it usually does.
Yes, it hasn't come across a lot of people's inboxes as far as I know.
Okay.
But it's out there on their website, but I'll send it to you.
Thank you. Thank you.
I don't have anything for Commissioner's Choice, so Melinda, the floor.
Okay. On the sewage.
Fascinated, by the
Let
way.
it flow.
I'm fascinated by the
Same.
topic. It's
It's a
not the
good-
water and
it's a
sewer
good-
board, but
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's a good hook, so.
Well, I was contacted by somebody in Jackson's Broadway Heights. They were having a problem with like sewage leaking back into their basement. They asked a city apparatchik about it. And the city person said, no, it's your problem because you and 5 other houses there at that end of the block are on a private sewer. Now, I've never heard of a private sewer unless it's like an outhouse. And so I did some research and that found that in the 1920s, residents kept voting down city council proposals to build a sewer district. So it took to like 1952 before they started building what is now the Southwest Water Treatment Partners over on South Platte River Drive. However, these houses that are supposedly on a private sewer were built in like 1951. And they've been paying their water and sewer bill to the city like all of us all along. And I actually I did research on the permit history of those houses and so forth, because assuming anything to do with water, sewer, and so forth would be a public works permit. And pretty much didn't find anything that would be let's say would delineate a private sewer. Has anyone else heard of private sewers?
that late in the game, no. Early on, and if you're talking like probably around the early 1910, 1900 era, I think I've heard, and I don't know if that's specific to Inglewood or just this area, but there are sometimes sewer lines that were ran that didn't apply to city streets or the placement of city streets and didn't apply to lots. And that's common, but I've never heard of a private sewer. I would expect that it connect the city. I don't know. That is very interesting. I'd love to talk to you more about it so I can understand that a little better. But
Well, my whole thing is then all the money that have been paid by those 5 homes owners since 1952, all that money collected should be given back to each of those owners with interest. I mean, I can see this, they have to somehow become part of the Inglewood.
Well, I
sewer
mean,
system.
CJ, and actually you raised a good question there. And this is an interesting topic for the Historic Preservation Commission.
I
but,
know, really.
Well, it's like, where did this city person get
Cash?
the idea?
we doing okay here? It's general discussion, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's commissioner's choice, so.
All right. Anyway, is it a septic tank that they have or some sort of thing like that? Are they actually connected to the
Who
city's
had to go
supply?
somewhere? Yeah,
That's
It has to
No,
go
I
somewhere.
believe that they are connected to the city.
but
Yeah,
they
so-
do, but they're not, huh?
No,
they're con-
well, no, they think they are. And I mean, this sort of started because the one house had a sewer line repair in 2019. They excavated for sewer repair and then did concrete to repair the sidewalk where they had dug and done sewer repair. And that's the house where it's leaking into the basement. Now,
It's back in
my
that.
idea is that they should have installed a backflow preventer when they did the sewer repair. And apparently there was a sewer there to repair.
I think,
They paid for something in
Melinda, I
20.
think this is a fascinating concept, just simply from the historic evolution of how the city's, infrastructure has worked. I mean, there, as far as I understand, any private utilities, were outlawed at some point. Like for instance, if you had a well service that I think your grandfathered for a while, or private utilities was, anyway. I think we have to be careful here to stay kind of in the auspice of our authority, and there is a commission that is responsible for this. And that's the Water and Sewer Board. It's a fascinating thing to talk about here, but I don't think we have any authority over it, or I mean, I certainly, the only experience that I have knowledge of, I should say, is the fact that wells were, you were asked to disconnect your well service at one point. in the
Yeah,
city.
we're not talking, well, yeah, I do remember wells, but no, I think, I mean, mainly I'm raising this for does anyone have historical knowledge of that there were now I checked the Inglewood history massive Inglewood history book from the library. There is a little bit about it on there, and they said some before the 1920s anyhow, some houses had like private cesspools.
Right.
But again, these
Melinda?
houses weren't built until the 1950s. So
Hey, Melinda, so CDOT actually in the past produced a historic context of Denver's historic brick sewers. And, obviously it's Denver focused, but it does have some like general history on sewer development. So that could be something to look into.
well, because and actually until the current water treatment plant was built, we were connected to Denver's sewer treatment. So at least those of us in the north end of town, I mean, my house is built in 1915, but it's always had a sewer. And like say, it
It's
originally
weird.
probably went to Denver, but
I just totally agree with Matt. If you have to go to the Water and Sewer Board, because the Water and Sewer Board would be over the whole boundaried Inglewood, right?
Yeah.
And so it doesn't matter that they were, maybe if they're not public works or whatever, there's still very much responsibility of Water and Sewer Board.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, I mean, as Matt said, I've never heard of private sewer that late in the game. And also if it's connected to the Inglewood sewer system, that seems like that would make it part of the public system. But yeah,
they're paying Inglewood for it, so
yeah.
Well, the other thing is though, is that aren't we responsible from sidewalk to your own house for both sewer and water?
yes.
As
So,
far as the infrastructure, yeah.
so unfortunately, that leakage into their house has something to do with that's their area that they're responsible for.
I mean,
No, it
arguably,
depends
Melinda,
on where it's coming in.
Well,
arguably, Melinda, you could say that anybody that has, sewer connection to the city, everything from the sewer tap to the house is a private sewer line anyway.
I said sidewalk, but you're right, sewer tap,
Yeah, sewer tap.
because it's in different places for
I don't
different.
know, it's a fascinating thing historically to look at it from that standpoint, but I just caution that we can't really do much.
Well, you did a lot, Melinda. I mean, you could,
Individually, you
please
can.
tell them you came to us and that the conversation was made, but obviously there's no political push we have. to
Yeah,
move anything.
well, and that's, I mean, I think I can go back and say, the commission also has never heard of a private sewer. But I think they did also contact Councilmember Woodward.
Well, Woodward would be a good person for that because I believe he has formerly sat on the Water and Sewer Board. And
Yeah.
he would be a very good person. And
That's what I was gonna say. The Water and Sewer Board, and if not that, it sounds like an issue to take to council or to.
I think people that have sat on the sewer board really qualified.
all right, well, that was a funny play on words there, CJ. Thank you.
Yeah.
Hopefully I didn't get back to Woodward. While we're on the topic, I'll bring it up. It is funny. I've had my we're talking about historic sewer lines. My house was built in 1925. I recently had the sewer line scoped for my property, and it was a fascinating thing actually, because get this, the company, the guy that was doing that work actually he said he got lost. It was 87 feet from inside my house to the street.
What should it be?
Well, I live on a 50-foot wide lot.
So you're saying there's not another 32 feet to that little juncture, huh?
Well, it was actually legitimately 87 feet. It spent the guy spent the entire day working on it, and it actually goes around my house. It's fascinating. He said it's fine. The slope is fine. There's no issues with it, but it actually goes around my house.
Now mine goes out the back and down, and the sewer, the city sewer is in the alley. And it's a
Mine's
street.
in my
I had
backyard.
mine scoped a few years ago too, and
Huh.
but also, in fact, a week or so ago, I'm one of the houses that they are checking to see if I have lead water supply pipes,
Oh,
and I do.
Yeah.
I probably
They
do
dug
too.
little holes and checked it out, and actually cleaned up after themselves very nicely too. And told me that the city then would replace from the curb stop where it comes in to where it enters my house.
Oh, wow.
I mean, that won't happen until spring at the earliest, but
I remember
and
seeing
I happen
something.
to know that once it enters my house, it's copper. But
Well, that's actually an interesting point that you bring that up too, is that the lead service line thing is something that they've received the grant funding to upgrade the lead service lines in the city. So that's a lot of homes like yours, Melinda, like mine. What is it? The steel pipe, galvanized pipe, protruding through the slab in my house, but and I believe it's galvanized most of the path, but there is a portion of it that I would assume that is probably lead.
well, and since you have a little child in the house too,
Yes,
I think you want to limit their lead exposure.
that is correct, and definitely in true Inglewood fashion, we do not drink Inglewood water.
Yeah.
Sorry to if Peter Van Rijs from listening to this right now, but anyway, hey, anybody that's gonna log into this meeting right about now is gonna wonder which
Which commission is this? Yeah.
it was good talking. I mean, we probably should consider adjourning the meeting here.
Yeah.
Eric
I mean,
Kazooie.
if that's the conclusion of Commissioner's choice, then I'll entertain a motion to adjourn in a second.
So entertained.
If there's a motion to adjourn, that one doesn't need a second, right, Eric?
I always take one just to be
Yeah,
safe.
what the heck? Who
Yeah,
else?
You know, I'm adjourned meeting officially, and then it just goes on forever.
Yeah, is there a second on the motion to adjourn?
I'll second it.
Or Lauren first, so Lauren seconded it. So
Okay.
stand and adjourn.
You guys,
So-
this was a really good meeting. I think there was a lot we got done and interesting things that shows how history is so involved in every step of our life.
Yeah, no.
Adios.